On the morning of May 5, 2004, two fishermen with two of their children went out into the sea on their boat. When they were near the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel's fourth artificial island, they found a dark green suitcase floating in the water. They pulled the heavy suitcase on board and opened it. Inside, there was a black garbage bag. When one of the children pried it open, there they found a pair of human legs from the knees down. They immediately called 911, and a murder investigation was launched that day. The police had zero lead. All they had was a pair of legs, after all. All they could do was hoping for the other body parts to turn up. They were quite confident that the other parts would turn up soon, and they weren't wrong. On May 11, a graduate student was cleaning up litter on the beach of Fisherman Island National Wildlife Refuge, not far from where the pair of legs were found. There she found a dark green suitcase. She opened it and tried to take out the garbage bag inside, but she was immediately assaulted by a foul odor. She immediately called the police, who then took the suitcase to the police station and opened it there. Inside, they found the head of a male wrapped in medical-grade towel and the torso with the arms still attached. The third and last suitcase was found by a fisherman floating in the water on May 16. Inside was the pelvis of the victim. When they found the head, it had been sitting in the water for some time. While it was still a bit identifiable, the head was extremely bloated. The medical examiners were able to determine that the victim was shot. They found a gunshot wound through the head and a couple of gunshot wounds in the torso. The police started to match the victim with the missing person reports in their database, but to no avail. Then one of the detectives on the case had the idea of having a sketch artist do a sketch of the victim's head and showed it on national television. They were hoping that someone who knew the victim would come forward. And someone did come forward. On May 21, John Rice called the police and informed them that he thought the victim was a longtime friend of his and his wife, 39-year-old William T. McGuire, also known as Bill McGuire. His wife, Sue Rice, had seen the sketch earlier on TV and was convinced that it was Bill, since Bill had also been missing. They knew because Bill's sister had called them looking for him, telling them he's been missing since he stormed off after an argument with his wife, Melanie Lynn McGuire. With the lead in hand, the police were able to match the victim's fingerprint with Bill's fingerprint in their database from a previous reckless driving incident. With the victim's identity confirmed, they started looking into the killer's identity. The first person they called in for questioning was Bill's wife, Melanie. Bill and Melanie first met when they were working as a waiter and waitress in the same restaurant. They started dating, and they dated for quite a while. Bill went on to become a computer programmer, and Melanie became a nurse in a fertility clinic after she got her diploma in 1997. She said that their relationship started out great but became tumultuous over time. They would break up and get back together multiple times, but eventually they would get married in 1999. They had 2 sons together. Their married life wasn't smooth. Melanie claimed that they often argued, especially after their first child was born, and during some of the arguments she claimed that Bill would get rough with her. There's one time they argued over the phone after Bill had gotten a ticket for reckless driving. She said that Bill told her that he would smash and kill her. She almost left that night, but she decided to stay. She also said that Bill had a gambling problem. He would often go to Atlantic City for a few days to gamble. Despite their rough marriage, in 2001 they decided to have their second child. Melanie soon got pregnant, and during this second pregnancy, Melanie got involved with her boss at the clinic, Dr. Bradley Miller. They started having an affair when she was 38 weeks pregnant and continued after her second child was born. She claimed they were both in love despite both of them being married and having their own families. What's strange was that amidst this affair and her own marital troubles, she and Bill decided to buy a $500,000 home in Warren County. They closed the documents on their new house on April 28 but never moved in. Dr. Brad Miller begged her not to move. He wanted them to be together. That night she replied that it was okay. She planned on telling Bill tomorrow that she wanted a divorce, but she claimed that she and Bill started arguing that night over the new house. The argument soon turned into other arguments, at which she claimed that Bill shoved a dryer sheet into her mouth and then slapped her. She then locked herself in the bathroom while Bill said that he was leaving. When Melanie went to the police station for questioning, she brought 2 lawyers with her, a divorce lawyer and a criminal lawyer, which was unusual for the wife of the victim to do. During questioning, Melanie said that she thought Bill might have gotten himself involved with some gangsters due to his gambling problem. She pointed out to the police that they might be able to find his car in Atlantic City. And she was right. They found Bill's car in Atlantic City. It had been towed from the Flamingo Hotel in Atlantic City on May 8 by a private towing company. Upon further investigation, they discovered a security video of the car entering the motel parking lot in the early morning hours of April 30, 2004. The footage was blurry and the police weren't able to identify the person in the car. The police found some problems with her testimony and made her the prime suspect in the investigation. During the investigation, an incriminating evidence was uncovered against Melanie. On April 26, 2004, Melanie purchased a .38 caliber handgun. Bill was killed with a .38 caliber handgun with wad-cutter bullets. Her receipt for the gun also listed an unspecified purchase of $995. There were only 2 items in the store for that amount. One of them was a box of wad-cutter bullets. Melanie also claimed later that she was the one who moved Bill's car as a prank, despite the fact that she had applied for protection from abuse order days earlier, after being allegedly slapped by Bill. The police also found her Easy Pass tag was recorded at a toll booth in Delaware 2 days after the murder. The toll road can lead directly to Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnels, where the first suitcase was found. She claimed that she was going furniture shopping in Delaware since it has no sales tax. When police investigated their home, they couldn't find Bill's possessions. They found out that Melanie had given them away. The police tracked them and found Bill's clothes in the house of a friend. The clothes were in a plastic bag similar to the garbage bag that was used to wrap Bill's body parts. Forensics were later able to demonstrate that the bags were manufactured on the same assembly line within hours of one another. The police also found incriminating search history on their computer. Keywords like where to buy a gun, how to commit murder, and poison undetected by forensics were searched on their computer just days before the murder. Melanie also admitted later that the suitcases that the body was found in, a matching 3-piece set of Kenneth Cole suitcases, were owned by them. Green fibers had also been found on one of the bullets lodged in Bill's chest. The fibers were identified as polyester fill, a common material found in household furniture. Bill and Melanie owned a green couch. The investigators hypothesized that the murderer used a pillow or couch cushion as a makeshift silencer to shoot Bill. The medical-grade towel used to wrap Bill's head matched with the towels stocked at the clinic Melanie worked in. A witness later testified that Melanie used the same towels to protect furniture when she moved. The police also believed that the murderer had used a sedative to incapacitate Bill before shooting him. They found a bottle of sedatives and a syringe in Bill's car. They were able to track the sedatives and syringes to a drugstore near the daycare of Melanie and Bill's toddler. There they found the prescription for the drugs. The prescription was from Dr. Bradley Miller, but it wasn't his handwriting, it was Melanie's. On June 2, 2005, more than a year after the murder, the police arrested Melanie after she had dropped off her children at childcare and preschool. It wasn't until March 5, 2007 that the trial commenced. Prosecutors contended her motive for the murder was to take up a new life with her lover. Despite the mountain of incriminating circumstantial evidence against Melanie, Investigators were unable to find the murder weapon or physical evidence of where she committed the murder and subsequent mutilation of the body. The prosecutors argued that the sheer amount of circumstantial evidence was enough to convict her. She was either guilty or the unluckiest person on earth to have that amount of circumstantial evidence pointed toward her. And the jury agreed with the prosecutors. On April 23, 2007, the jury found her guilty of first-degree murder. On July 19, 2007, at the age of 34, Melanie Maguire was sentenced to life in prison. She will not be eligible for parole until she is 100 years old. Let us know what you think about this case, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you are interested in seeing more of our videos.